ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਫੀਸ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਬਟ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੀ ਮਾਨਸਿਕ ਸਿਹਤ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਸਰ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ।
We want to make sure that we become a connector in the community, and by our actions, the trade and the relations between British Columbia and India.
He's the one who put Vancouver on the map of world for people in India. You know, he got TOEFL here, and you know, throughout years of his, you know, hard work, I would say he has immense passion for bringing both the countries, especially for BC and for India, to people to come together. Pacific Link College's member, you know, we focus ourselves towards, as you know from many times on the show, have been telling the reason why I came in this industry is to help students, because I myself came as an international student a long time ago.
When we talk about international students, I think in between these 5 to 7 years, many international students came. But the last 2 years, when COVID came and the situation was uncertain.
I'm also the chairman of the advisory board
For
of
PLC. Nice.
Yes. And we work very closely together. And I think it's a great college. And I've seen it grow from scratch to what it is today. Students today are in a better position than what it was during pandemic.
Yes.
Pandemic time, everybody had to go online. It was a bit of an inconvenience to everybody concerned, to the organizers, to the institutions, as well as to the students, and also to the immigration people. Canada is the most favored country for education today, because people don't like to go to Australia because there's a lot of racism and other problems.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਟੀਵੀ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਰਸ਼ਦੀਪ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਐਂਗਲਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਾਲਜਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਅੱਜ ਇੱਕ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਹੈ। ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ BC ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ BC ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਸੇ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕਈ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, BC-IBN ਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕੇਟਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੈਸੀਫਿਕ ਲਿੰਕ ਕਾਲਜ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਟਰਨ ਖੁੱਲਰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨੇ। ਨਾਓ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਆਫ BC-IBN। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, BC ਤੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਫੀਸ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਬਟ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੀ ਮਾਨਸਿਕ ਸਿਹਤ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਸਰ ਪੈਂਦਾ, ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਾਮਿਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ BC-IBN ਦੇ ਫਾਊਂਡਰ ਐਂਡ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਵਿਵੇਕ ਸਵਕੌਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਨੇ। ਨਾਓ ਨਿਊ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਸ਼ੋਭਨਾ ਜਯਾ ਮਾਧਵਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਨੇ ਟਰਨ ਖੁੱਲਰ। ਲੈਟਸ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਆਲ ਆਫ them. Tarun, Vivek ji and Shobhana ji, welcome.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Good to see you all. Last week, I believe we were at BC-IBN Summit. So it was the very first in Surrey before we see those events in downtown. Now it was in Surrey. So Vivek ji, you were the founder and president for BC-IBN. How was that summit according to you?
Well, that was the second summit we held, and both the summits have been very successful. The idea was to bring to notice of the institutions as well as to the people generally around, and also your audiences today, the plight of students, the advantages of coming to Canada, the problems faced by the universities, colleges, to highlight these issues. That was the main purpose of this education summit. Lots of new ideas are exchanged. Everybody is given the panelists are given a lot of questions to answer, which cover a variety of topics, and which more or less cover the whole gamut of education of students coming from different countries into Canada. That is the idea. Specifically with the Indian students coming here,
Yes.
to highlight their problems, their issues that are involved. And the whole thing was organized by my new president, Shobhana. she organized the whole show.
So congratulations, Shobna ji. Now you are president of BC-IBN, and the goal set by Vivek ji. Now it's in your hands. You are working in community as well. So what's your goal when you are president of BC-IBN?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's really great to be here today. And
you.
at the May 6th event, which you also attended, the whole idea behind summits like that is to bring people from different backgrounds. So business people, government officials, Council General from India, representatives from their media, and academics, to bring them together to talk about a wide range of issues. Everything from what Vivekji just touched upon, but also about all the new innovations and all the exciting things happening in the field of education. So we would like to do more and more of this moving forward. And because I work at Simon Fraser University, which is a university that believes in community engagement, we want to make sure that we become a connector in the community, and by our actions, the trade and the relations between British Columbia and India will be strengthened over time.
I think it's a bridge between BC and India. So how the business network works, how we can communicate with the students, with the colleges, what they need, everything what the education need. Now PLC, that college, they help really very well to the international students. How you became member of BC-IBN?
Arsh, before we go ahead, I want to tell you a little story about
sure.
Vancouver and a history of like India and Canada. So about, I would say 10 years ago, I would say like about 17 years ago, like when I came here and I was like, I'm going to Vancouver, people are like, where is Vancouver? My uncle or somebody lives in Toronto, can they come and visit you like on the weekend? I was like, nobody knew what Vancouver is. No one knew what British Columbia is.
Yes, that's true.
The reason why I'm telling you is I have to give it to Mr. Vivek that he's the one who actually brought Vancouver, BC closer to India. He's the one who put Vancouver on the map of world for people in India. He got Toifa here, and throughout years of his hard work, I would say he has immense passion for bringing both the countries, especially for BC and for India, to people to come together. I have seen in the last, I would say 7 or 8 years since I met Vivek, that he has brought so many dignitaries, so many film stars, so many people from industries, big industries in India, brought into Vancouver. And when they come to Vancouver, they realize there's so many opportunities.
That's true.
So I want to tell you, like, BC-IBN is actually not just a network society, it's a connector between British Columbia and India. And I can see, in the recent days, there's so much business, so much exchange in student culture happening. Like you would see, people coming doing performances. This is the first year I'm seeing so many artists coming and doing concerts.
Yes.
10 years ago, there would be like maybe one, Salman Khan might come once every 5 years. But now, just within this summer, we have like, I don't know, about 20 to 25 artists that I know are coming and performing.
And our community is growing as well.
That's true. And a lot of this advantage, credit goes to Mr. Vivek, who has worked hard throughout his years. And I have seen him always, on the phone telling people, come to Vancouver. So this is the foundation. These are the fundamentals on which the BC-IBN was formed in, to connect people from India and the Canadians, especially living in British Columbia. Coming to PLC, Pacific Link College's member, we focus ourselves towards, as you know from many times on the show, I've been telling, the reason why I came in this industry is to help students, because I myself came as an international student a long time ago. So I could see the challenges. And what I see is when we are the member of BC-IBN for last 5 or 6 years, and we learned a lot. The networking society actually helped us a lot to get connected with everyone. But coming as on the board is another thing, and I'm honored that I'm on the board now, and even if I can do 10% of what Vivek and Shobna has done, that would be good enough. But at the same time, also want to thank Shobna, who's a new president for BC-IBN, to invite me on the board, and I would be happy to contribute as much as possible.
Good for you, Tarun. You got to know them, you got to work with them. Now you are a member of BC-IBN. But Vivek ji, you did many things for people living in BC, for people living in India who wants to come to BC, who wants to come to British Columbia. But when we talk about international students, I think in between these 5 to 7 years, many international students came. But the last 2 years, when COVID came and the situation was uncertain, what do you think about today's situation? Is situation improving?
Situation today is improving, but before I go further, I want to tell you that I'm also the chairman of the advisory board
For
of
PLC.
Yes.
Nice.
And we work very closely together, and I think it's a great college, and I've seen it grow from scratch to what it is today, and he's the architect so of the PLC, and we work together very closely. We also work together very closely with all the other colleges and universities. Almost all of them are members with us, and they come to all our events and they support us very much.
That's nice.
In fact, in the last 3 years, starting with the pandemic, actually, the growth started during the pandemic, and many of the memberships came during that period. Reason being that we had many virtual conferences, webinars, etc., which were of great interest to all the education sector per se. Yeah, that's how it is. But students today are in a better position than what it was during pandemic.
Yes.
Pandemic time, everybody had to go online. It was a bit of an inconvenience to everybody concerned, to the organizers, to the institutions, as well as to the students, and also to the immigration people. Today, the backlog in the immigration is so large and huge,
Yes.
still not cleared, and it's going to take quite some time by the time things come back to normal. And after that, I think things should be smooth, but it'll take at least a year more. And the destination for education today is Canada, and out of Canada, I would say BC, British Columbia, because we have the finest institutions here in BC covering every sector, every topic, every subject.
We'll talk about the sports as well, but there are very less sports for the students, because many students, they are in queue. They want to come to Canada because there are like not very many colleges. They can't accommodate that many people, but there are like some local students. They are waiting for going to the college. So what BC-IBN is doing for them who are still waiting to come to Canada, especially in BC?
See, they need a lot of information and guidance. They normally go to immigration companies which dupe them, cheat them, and give them wrong information.
Yes,
Some are
that's
good.
true.
I'm not saying all are bad. Some are very good. But if they are not well informed, and there are people who give good guidance on to what's to be done, how to get into Canada, guide them properly, and they also tell them that, look, this is not meant for you, don't come. I think you're wasting your time, and that helps a lot also. Now, the thing is that Canada is the most favored country for education today, because people don't like to go to Australia because there's a lot of racism and other problems. You cannot go to UK because they don't let you stay. Once you finish your graduation, you have to leave. USA people don't prefer much due to racism and other things. Canada is the only place where you have full freedom. They give you every facility. They let you study, finish your graduation, get employment, get your PR, permanent residency card, and citizenship also. So young students want to come here to Canada because there is a lot of scope and a better life here, because they are not getting it there back home. There are so many graduates who are unemployed, and the number of graduates that are being churned out is like in thousands and thousands. So many of them prefer to come here.
That's why we're called this beautiful British Columbia. So people love to live there. They want to pursue their career here. But Shobna ji, if we'll talk about students, because you got to work with many members who are working for the students. You are working with SFU, you are working in community, you are working socially. When international students comes to Canada, environment is different. society is different. They can't afford sometimes living here because very many people are coming from middle class families. They have to work because in back home we just study. Parents are working for us. Here we have to do our work, domestic work. We have to do our studies. We have to do our like everything by our own. So people sometimes they commit suicides. There are like very many mental health issues, but they don't want to talk. So what this BC-IBN is doing for that issue? What other challenges students are facing?
Yeah, you've raised such an important issue, and my background, like I told you when we started the program, is in social work. So I'm a social worker by trade.
Yes.
And so mental health and mental health issues are something I've worked in for a long time. And with community partners, with BC-IBN, with the colleges and universities that are part of BC-IBN, we talk about this issue quite a bit. And of course, I have 2 young sons myself and a lot of young people in my life. And mental health, I would say, is the #1 concern that international students are facing, not just in Canada, but globally, I would say. And there's a number of reasons for it. One is that in the case of Indian students, they generally come from a very protected background. Like you said, family takes care of everything,
Yes.
and they just have to study and get good grades. When they come to a place like Canada, they don't have that safety network. A lot of the times they're staying in hostel, or they're staying in someone's basement suite, or they're sharing a house with 5 or 6 other, students. So right from the get-go, you have extreme culture shock, and then you have extreme isolation. So that becomes a bit of a challenge for students. So the preparation is so important. It's like everything else in life. 1 or 2 years before a student decides to come here, it'll be really good if the agencies that are working with the students,
Yes.
or the universities and colleges that are trying to recruit these students, or organizations like BC-IBN and other social service organizations can have programs, even online programs, where we can use technology to start preparing students for the realities. So one of the things that's happening now that's very exciting is that we are all part of a very interesting initiative called Global Emerging Leaders Program. It's called GELP. And we're going to have a first virtual summit in the month of June. And so if anybody's interested, just Google Global Emerging Leadership Program, GELP, and you will see the June virtual summit. And we are trying to bring students, hundreds of students from Canada and from India, with academics from India and Canada, to share that platform to talk about a number of issues, including preparing to leave your homeland and come to a foreign country to pursue your education. So I think a lot of it, effort needs to go a little bit more into the prevention space. And that will be one of the priorities that BC-IBN, Pacific Link College, and all our other partner members are going to be looking at this year.
A student should search by themselves, like where they're going, what the facilities are, what they have to do. So sometimes ground reality is some different when what we're dreamt of. So sometimes as we talked with the Tarun, most of the time they are doing very well things for the students because they are educating them. Even when they are sitting in India, they are providing them help. So Tarun, explain us more about that help provided by you.
So, Arsh, like as we discussed, Sam, and I totally agree with Shobna, like student needs, we need, programs are there where students can take help. Some of the things that initiatives we took is setting up a helpline, like Hello Talk. So it's like,
okay.
somebody who wants to talk, just pick up the phone line and call us. I
And
know
it's
a lot.
24/7 available?
It's 24/7.
Because sometimes
That's
there
right.
is like nighttime and it's daytime. It's sometimes different.
That's
and
true.
sometimes people in India, they're complaining when we are calling to some college or some universities, they're not picking us our phone call, or sometimes they are not responding to the emails. And sometimes they just got fed up because now at times, like Vivek ji said, there are like backlog of applications and they are not hearing back from colleges, from immigration office. So they are facing like many difficulties over there.
So we have set up the helpline where everyone can call, and even like if they have queries, they will get the response back in 24 hours, because people needs communication. if they are communicated well and in a proper time, it helps them a lot to plan out accordingly, especially in these days. COVID definitely had a huge impact on students' life. That's why we have more and more groups like, students can come in, talk about their issues. It's all about, like we discussed last time, we had a big social structure like, joint families, and then we moved to nuclear families, and now nuclear families are becoming like single individual family. You can't even call it a family anymore. So we have moved towards that, but we're also seeing its adverse effects that, it's causing a lot of problems on a larger scale. More and more reports are coming out showing the level of depression going around the world. So we start this at a school level itself. So at our, Pacific Link College, we have programs, we have teachers who are well aware, so they're ready to help. Even if they see someone's depressed, they will, try to help them, ask them after the class hours, come talk to them, ask the advisors to get connected. And in certain times, like we provide them help. Either way, BC also provides a lot of mental support. But as we discussed last time, it's about also it comes down to individual, like a lot of, especially our community, you feel like, okay, if I have a problem, if I express it, they might see something's wrong with this person, right? People don't see mental health issue as a health issue, but they see it as a mental problem. It's like a physical problem, you are tired, you have to go see a doctor, get wounded, go see a doctor. But for mental health, people are like, who should I go? If I go, they might look me down,
Shobna ji and I, we were talking about that. There is like lack of communication, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of stigma, and around the world there is a lot of stigma, but in some countries and cultures it's even more stronger. So the one message I have to anybody out there, especially a student who might be struggling or is not doing well, is that to believe that there is absolutely no shame in asking for help. When you have a toothache, you go to the dentist. When you're not feeling well mentally or you're feeling depressed, you go and speak to a counselor, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist. And all colleges and universities and all communities in British Columbia have very good mental health services. And many of them are helplines, many of them are just online. You can call and connect, you can chat, or you can walk into your doctor's office and try and get some help. But most institutions and the BC government has a range of services and supports, and we need to take responsibility for our health, including our mental health, and not be ashamed to ask for help.
That's true. And tell us more about the programs your college is offering to the international students.
So as last time when I promised that we have a new program coming up, now we have a university transfer program where students can again come from all over the world. They come join the program and they can transfer to institutions like KPU, Royal Roads University, Thompson Rivers, UCW. So there are tons of universities. Trinity Western University. We already have pathway programs, as I mentioned, with Vancouver Community College and Trinity Western University, where students come and finish up their first year, and then they go rest of the years, finish up their degree over there. But what I would also like point out is like jobs. There's a huge, and that's where I would also bring in BC-IBN role in it, like, the conferences that are being done. It's because it's a network society. So I urge a lot of members, like doesn't matter, it's businesses, it's educational institutions, it's self-employed people, they should come and join, become a member of BC-IBN, because this is where networking starts. It actually links back to all the issues. Even depression, sometimes going to a networking event actually helps you to, close in with other people who share the same problems. And become friends, and after they become friends, they can speak out.
Don't be a competitor. Yes, competition is a one side, but if you are working as a team or collective efforts, it's beneficial to the students, to the community, to the everyone. So Vivekji, you are working with the community, with the India and BC. So BC-IBN you found many years back, and now you handed over to Shobna ji. What you achieved throughout those years, and what's the goal of BC-IBN?
The goal of BC-IBN is to foster relationships between BC and India, trade, education, social and culture. in all the 4 sectors. And I think we did a good job in making India known and making BC known to Indians. Since the last 8 years, it was not so. There were no direct flights. People hesitated to come to Vancouver. That made a big difference. BC-IBN advocated for getting direct flights between the 2 countries. Yes, we played a major role. We were not the only ones, but we did play a very major role in getting the direct flights, and we're still trying to get direct flights from Vancouver to Bombay, for example. Mumbai is the commercial capital.
Yes.
And in case if business has to thrive, I always tell Air Canada bosses, you must have a direct flight, direct connection between BC and Mumbai. So I think that will happen. It has to happen.
It has to happen. So, as he said, not the education, so culture, community, everything should be connected
Yes.
to each other.
Yes.
Vivek, you are from Bombay. She is from Malaysia, from Kerala, India, Canada, everywhere. So all the communities should come together for the students, because students, they're future of any country. So we have to help them to we have to help the community. We have to come together as a team. So now you are president of BC-IBN. What will be your goal? Vivekji said the goal, but what else you want to do for the community?
So I'm very passionate about peace, and I believe that without peace, we cannot make any strides. Like humanity doesn't have a future unless there is peace. And we've seen that in recent times with what's happening in Ukraine. Now, trade allows us to have prosperity, but trade cannot prosper unless there is peace, right? But for peace, you need understanding. For understanding, you need dialogue. For dialogue, you need connections, right? So I think it's all interconnected. So I think at BC-IBN, thanks to Vivekji's vision and the board members we have, like Tarun and others, and some of the main sponsors we have, ICICI, Canada Bank, YVR, Air Canada, and some really, really important organizations. We are very like-minded people in the sense we don't believe in dividing and ruling or competing. We believe that there is so much unity in diversity, and there's so much beauty in diversity. And me with a social work background, though I'm very passionate about business, entrepreneurship, my 2 sons are entrepreneurs, and I mentor a lot of CEOs, young CEOs. Though I am very much in love with that whole business space, my background is social work, and I have seen the price we pay at a family, individual, society level, and globally, when we don't deal with social issues, when we don't deal with poverty, when we don't deal with cross-cultural understanding. So one of the emphasis of BC-IBN will continue to be role modeling to young people what unity and diversity looks like. What does it look like when professionals of different ages, backgrounds, come together to work towards a common goal, for common good. So that's what we're hoping to accomplish.
When somebody is working as a team, so of course they will win for sure, because it's a teamwork. So teamwork always pay off. So at the end of this conversation, what will be your message to the viewers?
So I'll come back to the jobs prospect also. There's lots of jobs, and if students also are looking forward to develop their careers, it's always good to be a member of a society like BC-IBN, where they can come connect with other individuals, other professionals, which will actually help them to develop their careers. In the end, I would say, under now the leadership of Shobna, I can see that BC-IBN will become a more important part of our Canadian society and Indian society too. So I urge everybody to come and become members of the BC-IBN, so that we can help each other, we can help people from Canada and from India to connect and build more relationships.
Thank you so much, Vivekji. What will be your message?
The most important thing today is youth. The youth is going to control the world, and education. The education for all our youth in different sectors is very, very important. That will help them to make good citizens, not only of India or Canada, but of the world. We are talking about one world today.
Yes.
And that's very important.
That's true. Thank you so much. And Shobna ji, what will be your message?
Well, it's hard to pick one message, but what I would say is it's such a great honor to be part of an organization such as BC-IBN. And I'm, very happy that I'm part of a university that believes in community engagement. And right from President Joy Johnson to my boss, VP Joanne Curry, and many other individuals I work with, community engagement is sort of in the DNA of SFU. And so it allows people like me to be able to get involved in the community in a very meaningful way. The one message I will throw out to people is that never underestimate the power of one individual or one organization. All of us have gifts to share.
Yeah.
When we come together, then it becomes extraordinary what we can do collectively. And so I encourage everybody to get involved, whether it's with BC-IBN or another community organization. Give back to community,
Yes.
give back to the world.
Yes, thank you so much, and keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you for having
Thank you,
us.
Harsh.
Thank you. So as Shobna ji, Vivek ji, and Tarun ji, they all said education play an important role in our life, especially in a youngster's life. So education ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸੀ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫੀਡਬੈਕ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦਿਓ। ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅਰਸ਼ਦੀਪ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।